Hello everyone, welcome back to Laser Monkey, and today I'll be answering the most requested question. Is the GAN XS better than the GAN X, which has been my main for a while? And it took me a while actually to switch to the GAN X after having used the GAN SM for such a long time. The main reason was that I was so used to this very slow, controllable puzzle, and it took me a really long time to find a setup on the GAN X that wasn't super fast and flaky and unstable. And the setup I have it on now is really nice. It's really stable. I have the strongest magnets in there, the tightest springs, all of that, and it's really stable. But once I got the GAN XS, I had another evolution in my taste. The GAN XS is significantly lighter than the GAN X. When you turn this cube, after having turned this cube, you just realize that the GAN X has some weight to it. Every single turn, it's got a little bit more to it. The M moves are significantly harder on the X versus the XS. And the effortlessness of practicing and doing long sessions and even just doing normal solves, there's so much less resistance on this XS. It's not only the lightness of the cube, but the design. If we look at the corners, so the edges are virtually identical, but once we look at the corners of the X and the XS, you'll see that the X has this kind of bubbly thing on there, and the XS is kind of more a flat, slat thing. And this is way faster. These kind of subtle differences, honestly, if you're not pushing like 10 TPS, you probably won't care. But if you're going to be doing a lot of practice and you want something that's really, really fast and really light, the GAN XS is a superior feel in my opinion. It's super smooth, super nice. I really, really enjoy this puzzle. I just feel like I can turn so much quicker. And as you guys know, I have been working on my TPS. I used to be a slow poke. I used to use a Yushin 3x3. I don't have it with me, but it used to look a lot like this, very beat up, and it was so slow. It was unbelievably slow. But that's because at that point in my training, I was focusing on pure efficiency. But now my look ahead is getting good enough that I can actually turn fast now. So I've been using the GAN XS. The GAN X is still a wonderful puzzle. I'll probably be using it as my warm-up, and I might switch back to it. In high-pressure situations, I find that having a slower cube helps deal with my nerves. If I'm used to training on a really speedy puzzle like this one, once I go back to the XS, those little jitters will be canceled out by the harder, the more resistance in the turns. That's often why I liked using the GAN SM back in like 2018, 2017, just because it had so much resistance that whenever I got nervous, maybe my TPS wasn't at its maximum, but at least the jitters were not affecting my turns. On something that's really light, honestly, the XS is not nearly the lightest cube I felt, and I could not use a super light cube. I really don't like those really, really light Moyu cubes, Chi cubes, all these cubes that are set up really light. I much prefer like, say, a Volk with a really slow setup. And I think this XS is a really, really nice compromise between the controllability and the pure speed, because this cube is really, really stable if you set it up the right way. And now that's just the feel. That's just a nice overview. But another major reason why I think the XS is a much better cube than the X is the setup. Okay, so if we go all the way back to the GAN SM, the options on this were fairly limited, right? You had your magnets, but they were not removable. As you can see, there's no magnet there. On these cubes, you can see the magnets. What does that mean? It means you can remove them. And the GS on here, it was just, you use a tool, right? You had to carry around this metal tool. It was very uncommon. The only people that had them were people with SMs. Maybe they had some older GAN 356. And it's just really inconvenient. You got to carry around this entire big box of things, and you might lose them. You might forget which one goes with which cube because they all look kind of similar, but they're not the same. Because after this was the standard twist Titan, which does cause inconsistency. It's very hard to figure out exactly how tight you turned it, and you had to like take out the entire thing with a bunch of twists if you wanted to switch out the tension and switch it to like green or blue. Once you come over to the X, it's much better, all right? But the problem is that if you use the numerical IPG, you've only got like 3 settings, right? It's like 0.6, 0.8, 1. That's it. And you have to choose between those 3 very, very limiting settings. And for that reason, a lot of people I know, like Timon Koleshinsky, use the IPGV5, which use the standard twist nut mechanism. But then you're losing out on this like beauty of just a very simple thing, very quick to like take it out. You know, it comes right out like that. You know, and then once you're ready to put it back in, you know, super fast. But the disadvantage with that is that, you know, you only get 3 options, and for that reason, see, like, and then like if you want to figure out like which one you want to go to, you have to peer at the puzzle and like have good lighting. It's really complicated, honestly. I have to say the GAN XS improved this so much. So instead of this thing where you have to carry around one of these plastic things and you lose it and you misplace it and you have no idea where it is and you don't know. Like, people end up just using the old technology because it's just simply not as powerful when you use this easier thing. The XS has a much better design. It has this thing, right? And this is essentially like a dual system. You've got this thing where that adjusts like your tension, which is great, honestly. And you can add these on for like a different set of possible tensions. And then you can do this with your fingers, but it's easier with the tool. You just put it in here, drop it. Just put it in here and you twist it. Oh, drop it. You know, it's got like 6 settings, right? And this isn't theoretically as precise as the IPGV5, but you're going to nail this every time. You're going to have the exact same tension on every single side. And I remember back in the day, we used to take apart the cores and stretch them out to see like exactly how far the stock was coming out of the core, and it was super complicated to evenly tension puzzles. Now you just say 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, that's what I did on all the other sides. I'm done. Perfect. Oh, feels nice. See how easy that is? And back on the X, let's go to a different method of adjustment. These magnets, right? These magnets are removable. You see these magnets? These are the magnet blocks, and the theory is like there are other ones. You had a set of them, and whenever you want to switch magnets, you just push it in and it swaps it. The problem with that is that you do have to disassemble the entire cube, and if your cube is well lubed, that's a pain. Right? Because you're going to get all your lube all over your fingers. You're going to mess up the consistency. Your stickers are going to be covered in lube, and you're just going to be very sad about that. And what if you want to switch settings again? Well, it takes forever. And not only does it take forever, but you have to remember, like, I don't even have the magnets to show you because I have no idea where they are. Probably back at my, like, old house. Like, I don't know. So the great thing about this is there are 3 settings, right? There's the tight one, which is the strong magnet setting, which if you see here, the way this works is, I'll take it out. But the point I'm trying to make here is you can just adjust this without even taking the puzzle apart, which is super nice. But anyways, so if you take a look at this setup here, okay, so you've got the edge. And you've got the corner, right? The corner has a little magnet there. The edge has a little magnet, and you stick them together, and that's how they stick, right? Well, if you want a weaker magnet setting, you just click it down a little bit. And there is a setting in the middle that takes a little bit more finesse to get there. You see, there's the middle setting. And now the magnets are slightly misaligned. So once you move this magnet down, the corner magnet always stays in the same place. Now they're misaligned. So it's a weaker magnet. You go even further, now it's even weaker. Now, I did some solves on this weakest setting. If you go back to my testing video where I did some solves, that 4.16, I believe, was on this super weak setting. And honestly, it almost feels like a non-magnetic cube on the weakest setting. I've never been a fan of the super weak setting, but you know, if that's your thing, you do it. And if it's not your thing, you don't do it. The point is, it's really easy to set up your cube, and it's really easy to vary it up. Like maybe in certain situations you want to have stronger magnets, in other situations you want to have weaker magnets. People never do this. People don't switch their cube setup based on their performance, at least not that I'm aware of. I don't know, maybe some people out there on a whole nother level. But in the future, with technology like this, where you can like, it almost feels like, you know, when you're in a racetrack and they have those like hot swappable tires where they just like, you know, in the Cars movie, they got the little people running around and they're just like whatever his name is, the little green car is just like swapping all the tires real quick. That's what it feels like. All right, like you can do that real quick. Maybe in a high pressure situation you want stronger magnets than in a lower pressure situation. Just adjusting for that fiddle, the little vibrations that you get in your fingers when you're nervous. And honestly, this puzzle is just great. I set it up. You know, I hate setting up cubes, but I think it was worth it. I put my nice cubicle half brights on here, and now it looks exactly like my X, but I assure you it is much better. It's so much lighter. The core in this thing, there's nothing in the core. All right, this thing is so big. Like, it's got big blue block, and then it's got metal sticking out. This one, there's nothing in there. It's just like clear plastic. You can't even see it. Okay, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Long story short, get the XS. Unless you already have the X, then think about it more, because, you know, it's only a marginal improvement after all. Thanks for watching. It's the Laser Monkey, out.